NanoBanana Pro is ridiculously good, but most people aren't using it to its full potential. It has genuine world knowledge. It really thinks and edits itself before it delivers the image. And it's capable of so many different kinds of visuals. It's great at typography. It can do full diagrams and infographics. It's great with character consistency, and it can handle all sorts of different photographic styles. Most people just type in simple prompts and hope for the best. So in this video, I'm going to show you some powerful tips for how to make it work properly. I've also made a free guide that you can attach to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever LLM you're using, and you can just give it your basic idea, and that will let ChatGPT or whatever turn your basic prompt into a much more structured prompt for NanoBanana Pro. So I made this NanoBanana Pro ultimate guide for designers, marketers, and small businesses, but honestly, the principles work for everyone. So let me walk you through the big pieces in the guide, and then we'll do a live example. So first, there's a description of how it works, and then we get into the core prompting rules. So the first rule is always state the purpose. That just means telling NanoBanana why you're making the image. Is it a social ad, a header, or a product shot, or a diagram? Start with that. Rule number 2 is thinking about it as like a Photoshop file, thinking about it in layers. So you've got like the background, the main subjects, the supporting elements, and the best structure looks something like this. You give it the purpose, the background, the main subject, supporting elements, text, style, color palette, and mood. If you give it those, that will give NanoBanana most of what it needs. Rule number 3 is design for edits. That just means if you're getting an output that you don't really like, you don't have to throw it away and start from scratch. You can just edit the output that it gave you. You ask for like really specific changes, like keep the layout, but change the colors and move the logo and tweak the lighting. That said, it does get a little bit confused inside a single chat, inside its context window. And if that happens, you just copy the last image that you were happy with, start a new chat, paste that in, and ask for edits from there. And that sort of resets its brain. The fourth rule is don't waste time describing things that don't matter. Like focus on the details that really do. This is for when you're editing. So things like where the logo should be or what the color scheme is, where the text should sit, what font it should be, and leave the unimportant stuff up to the model. So after the rules, the guide gives you some ready-made prompt patterns. So there's a pattern for a social post, one for an infographic. This is a very basic example. We've got a website or a UI mockup. You've got a product or packaging shot, which I think looks beautiful. And then you've got a very simple diagram. Now, finally, there's a language called JSON. This is basically computer language, but you don't need to be a programmer to use it. It uses a similar structure to what we've already talked about, but it's written in a very programmatic, structured way. And that gives you super tight control over how NanoBanana performs. So you should use JSON if you have a really good idea of what you want and what the layout really means. But if you're just exploring and you want the model to be creative, like when you're brainstorming aesthetics or different visual directions, don't use JSON. Just stick to normal prompts. So the guide also explains how to use JSON with a workflow assistant, and let's try that now. Okay, so over here in ChatGPT, I've started a new window, and I've said, using the attached NanoBanana prompt guide, turn this into a detailed language prompt and a JSON prompt. And what we want is a set of images of canned sparkling drinks with different flavors. So we want a hero image and a 2x2 grid and a few other little specifications. So let's get ChatGPT to write those prompts for us. And then we will bring them over into Gemini and test out what the prompts are. So what we should get now from ChatGPT is those two different types of prompts. So it's given us our plain language prompt using that structure from before, the purpose, global background and style, camera and angle, lighting and mood, label and readability constraints, and then, more information based on our initial prompt. And then it's given like really detailed information. So you can see how much longer these prompts are than they would be if you wrote them yourself. And then underneath that, we've got the JSON one. So let's go over to Gemini and try these both out. So over here in Gemini, I've pasted my prompt. I'm just going to go to Tools, Create Image, and let it go. A NanoBanana Pro takes a little bit longer than the old NanoBanana, and that's because it's really doing a lot of thinking behind it. So expect about 20 to 30 seconds before you get an image. Whoop! Nope. This time it was quite quick. But look at that image. Perfect typography. That's beautiful. I don't know how we're going to top that, but let's give the JSON prompt a go. Okay, so I actually hit my rate limit on my free Gmail account, and I've gone over to my Pro account. I think with NanoBanana Pro, you can only generate about 3 images a day on the free model. It's still worth it. Let's give the JSON prompt a go and see if it's any better than the first one. So this is quite interesting. The results that we've got out of the JSON prompt is that instead of having a made-up brand name, like on the previous image, we got this name Sparkle. Arguably, this is a better picture, I think. But when we use JSON, because we have more control, we've stopped it from hallucinating or making up details. So the moral of the story is when you want it to have a certain amount of creative freedom, then just use the normal structured prompt. If you're struggling with getting NanoBanana to do what you want it to do, then use JSON. Okay, so just to recap, if you've got an idea, attach this guide to ChatGPT or whatever, tell it to turn your idea into a NanoBanana prompt or a JSON prompt if you need that control. Paste it into NanoBanana and then keep editing it from there instead of starting from scratch every time. If you want this guide from the video, it's totally free in the link in the description. You just type in your email and you'll get access to that PDF. And I think that you'll find it really useful. If you want more practical AI stuff for design and marketing, hit subscribe and maybe think about joining my WhatsApp group where I share new stuff in there like once or twice a week, like tips and news and stuff like that. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.